We bring it to Johannesburg and the ongoing turmoil in our metro. So many questions around the new Joburg mayor. Last week, the DA laid 4 charges alleging Kabelo Gwamanda swindled elderly investors out of their savings. Then, over the weekend, it emerged there were questions about his qualifications. Mnet's programme Carte Blanche saying he only has a grade 10. Well, while that controversy swirls, one wonders who's actually running the city. Let's speak now to Funzi Ngobeni, Action SA's Gauteng chair and, of course, a former mayoral candidate himself. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ngobeni. I wonder if you can clarify what your concerns are and what you know. Do you believe that he may have lied about his qualifications, or is your concern simply that he might not have a matric? Because one is he may be underqualified, but the other is lying, and that's much more serious in my view.
No, good evening to your viewers as well, Sally. I think our concern is the integrity of the city and the integrity of the office of the mayor. And if there's these allegations, they need to be cleared as soon as possible. If the mayor is innocent and everything that he produced was up to scratch, he needs to come out, quite clear and dispute the allegation. So far, he has not done that. He actually avoided an opportunity that was presented to him over the weekend, and he disappeared afterwards. And there was an acting mayor. So that's really our concern. I think the integrity of that office has been really compromised by the ANC and the EFF coalition. I think, as you know, this is a second mayor that is found wanting, and we are really concerned because it's affecting the running of the city, it's affecting service delivery. As we speak now, Sally, the state of the city address was postponed. The tabling of the budget for approval, which is supposed to happen at the end of this month, it's also postponed. And this is because of this instability that is caused by the mayor resigning and the new mayor coming in and the new mayor disappearing in the act.
Yeah. So talk to me, are there any minimum standards of education that are required if you want to become a mayor? And you will know how to answer this question because, of course, you put your hat in the ring or your party put your name up. Do you have to have a matric? Is there a minimum standard of qualification?
Not really, Sally. There is no minimum requirement to be a mayor. I think what is required for a big city like the city of Johannesburg, an economic hub of the city, I think it's a mayor that has firstly integrity, secondly the mayor that's able to understand the local government regulations and the laws that governs local government, and the mayor that's able to be present at all times to respond to the residents and to councillors who are holding him accountable at periodic times. So that is what is required, and this ANC-EFF coalition seems not to be able to identify amongst themselves, a mayor that, or at least a candidate that can be able to occupy that office and deliver on their behalf. And I think that's one of the things that we are really calling them to do. We are asking them to sit around the table, to look amongst themselves and identify a person that they can bring forward that can be able to then represent them in that office and deliver services to the residents.
So in summary, you don't actually have to have a matric, but you have to show that you've got what it takes to run a massive city like Johannesburg. Have you had a look at his qualifications, at his CV? Do you know whether he claims to have a matric? Do you have that information at hand?
Yeah, no, we do have that information at hand that was provided to us by the investigators and people that have been looking into these stories, and it points to a mayor that had a grade 10 as his highest qualification, and then obviously later on registering for a college. It's unverified. We can't rely on that. I think his word will be more important and more.
Yeah, we need to hear from him.
It will have weight to this. So it's very important that he must take us into his confidence.
Yeah. So also the DA has laid charges of fraud. They've also brought forward, I think, at least 4 people who say he took our money and we got nothing back for it. Obviously, that issue has to be investigated as well. On the surface of that, though, is that enough to perhaps push for him to be taken out of this role, or is it a case of innocent until proven guilty?
No, look, I mean, as I indicated earlier on, integrity is very important. I mean, if there's such allegation of an individual that has, robbed the poor of their hard-earned money, and now is in charge of the city, the 76 billion rand budget, it's important that those allegations must be cleared, and the mayor must be able to continue with his work. Until that has happened, there will always be suspicion. There will always be, concerns from the residents that, look, their hard-earned taxes are not being looked after, and anything can happen. So I think it's really that's what we are asking: accountability. We are asking him to come forward and declare that all these allegations are false, and then he can be able to continue his work. And it's not only him, by the way, Sally, that must do that. We're looking at these parties that elected him. Panyaza Lesufi was quite quick to come on TV and announce him as a candidate. I think he needs to come forward as well and encourage him to, to come clear and be able to clear these allegations. The EFF as well. They need to come out clear. I think this playfulness that we are seeing of this coalition, it needs to end. The city is very important. I think we're looking at the labor surveys that were released earlier on. Gauteng as a province, it's experiencing high level of unemployment. It's growing. Yeah. There are no solutions at hand, and we need at least a Joburg that can work, that can be able to attract investment, that can be able to absorb some of the young people that just concluded
you're so right.
Last year.
So much at stake. And you mentioned earlier that the State of the City address has to happen, that there's a budget that's up for approval. And all of this is a little bit stymied now with this new mayor under a bit of a cloud. As you say, we need to hear from him. But the reality is, if he is going to get the boot, if there is a problem around his credentials or his integrity, we're going to get to this point again where Action SA will put you forward. The DA will probably put Mpho Phalatse forward again. And then the EFF ANC will put someone else forward who won't be someone who's got strong credentials because they don't want someone who's going to dominate. So we're going to get stuck. It's going to be like Groundhog Day. What is Action SA going to do to make a difference? I mean, are you, for example, chatting to the DA saying, come on, guys, let's get our act together at least?
Yeah, look, I think from our side, we have always, tried everything to keep the coalition intact. I mean, in the previous round of election, my party basically indicated that we will support Mpho Phalatse as long as we can be able to guarantee the coalition with a majority. And that majority had to come from the 8 votes that we were supposed to get from the PA. But the DA obviously rejected that. And that's how they ended up fielding their own candidate, and we had to field our own candidate. But we don't stop trying. We need to continue engaging with them and follow the process. And if we are defeated democratically in council, like we were defeated last time, we need to accept the result. But we also need to call on those that are victorious to ensure that the candidate that they are putting forward is a credible candidate. It's someone that will still be able to deliver, even if it's not us. Because if we are defeated democratically in council, we need to make sure that we are in the opposition benches and we hold those that are in power accountable. But at the moment, we can't hold anyone accountable because the mayor is nowhere to be seen. There's no vision for the city. There's no state of the city address. The budget is still not being approved. So it affects the residents at the end of the day.
Yeah, it certainly does. All right, thank you so much for telling us what you do know at this stage, some very serious concerns around the new mayor. That is Funzi Ngobeni, Action SA's Gauteng chair, also a former mayoral candidate himself, just explaining their concerns. And just to let you know that after 7 o'clock this evening,